So, Twitter did what pretty much everyone expected them to do in banning Alex Jones yesterday, seemingly for doing actual journalism, for speaking truth to power, calling a CNN reporter fake news to their face, questioning Marco Rubio. It was this. Not all the the conspiracy theories or anything like that that led to his banning, in my opinion. They had not banned him prior to this. He had had no major issues prior to this until he went to report, something most, quote, reporters have forgotten how to do, or were really never interested in doing in the first place. I mean, you go to a site like CNN, most of the anchors there are paid actors, in my opinion. They don't ever leave the office. They don't do any real journalism. And for all of Alex Jones's faults, for all of the absurd things he has been quoted as saying over the years, he's actually been right about some things. Certainly, his hit rate is lower than I would expect of anything mainstream. But how much has CNN been right about? The Steele dossier, the Russian collusion, all of the various things that they do. How mainstream media pushes narratives that literally start wars, that kill millions of people. This is not an issue to places like Twitter and Facebook because, well, they've been bought off. They've been paid. Whether it's through extraordinary tax breaks and government kickbacks, whether it's through foreign investment, they don't care about free speech anymore. Specifically Twitter and Facebook. Now, YouTube is very questionable. They have done some very questionable things, including participating in what seems like, in my opinion, the colluded depersoning of Alex Jones. But they remain okay. It's a really scary time right now to be speaking your opinion, speaking your mind. Everything I say isn't correct. I'm wrong just as much as anybody. But that's what this platform used to be about. These many platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Well, YouTube is basically getting turned into Jimmy Kimmel Show, clips of copyright stolen old Fresh Prince of Bel-Air shows, illegal streams of Family Guy and American Dad, and deep below that, you'll find the creators, if you're lucky. And if you've subscribed and you've clicked the bell and then you've checked the various boxes underneath that, you may be one of the lucky ones to receive notifications when that channel uploads. Now, not everybody demands mobile phone updates of uploads, and a lot of people prefer to just check their subscription feed. Well, you'll be lucky to find your creators there. This is where we are after about 3 straight years of anti-consumer, anti-free speech behavior from these platforms. And it doesn't stop there, because if the mainstream media, which in many ways profits from this sort of thing, they profit from the wars they start. They profited from witch hunting Alex Jones. CNN getting advanced notice of Alex Jones' Twitter ban so they could report on it before anyone else. Essentially profiting on the controversy that they started. If they really want you gone, they'll take your web host, they'll take your domain name, they'll take your email service, they'll unperson you. And there's a resounding argument I hear when I announced last night that I'm backing away from Twitter. At the time, I said I was going to delete it, but then it was brought to my attention that then someone will just impersonate me, and that becomes an issue. So I'm in the process of removing my history from Twitter. My pinned comment on Twitter will be promoting whatever free speech alternatives there are out there. Right now, there are a few that I want to show you. And if, let's say you're an Alex Jones fan, one of the many millions, or you're a fan of Milo Yiannopoulos, or you're just a fan of free speech, these are platforms that you should at least consider. Not everybody is willing to unplug from Twitter. I'm going to give myself 30 days. I believe strongly that Twitter continues to thrive on the marketing terminology known as the fear of missing out. Many people lashed out at me when I announced that I'd be deleting my Twitter. Some people said, well, you're letting them win. You're just letting them create their own echo chambers. To that, I would say, I don't believe that there have been a large number of minds changed on Twitter. I don't believe that some hyper-feminist making some anti-male tweet getting BTFO'd in a retweet has ever changed their mind. 1 in a million, maybe? I feel like our time is better spent with engaging with people who want their mind changed, who want to have a conversation. And the idea that leaving Twitter or spending your time elsewhere perpetuates this echo chamber, I don't agree with that. Inside of Twitter, that's why they call there's like black Twitter and Irish Twitter and then there's conservative Twitter, there's liberal Twitter, and they very rarely cross over, if only to make fun of the other side, perhaps. Fire up a hate mob, an outrage mob. Fill somebody's feed with unfounded critiques and personal attacks. These things are not productive. Twitter is not productive. Leaving Twitter will cost me nothing. I'll still post my videos there. At first, I was ready to just delete everything in its entirety. But after sleeping on it, I think it's fair that I should at least post when I have new videos come out. I'll just have YouTube do that automatically. But I'm going to spend my time promoting whatever new platform is out there, however imperfect it may be. Building my own platform in thequartering.com. Because in a lot of ways, we have to go back. To go forward, we must go back, in my opinion. We can no longer rely as content creators on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook to actually put out our message to at least the people that want to see it, with things like shadow bans and questionable algorithms and a new way for your subscribers to have to actually jump through hoops to get notified each week. There's Gab going. You can't keep up with it. It's not possible. And so we have to go back to some of the things that worked before. In my opinion, email lists. In my opinion, off-site funding. The way things used to be before Patreon and the failed experiment that was maker support, we have to ask our supporters to do a little bit more, to be a little bit more inconvenienced. And those that don't want to, that's totally cool. I'm not trying to shame anyone that's going to stay active on Twitter or Facebook. I appreciate that. I respect that. If you don't really care to be bothered with all of this Muh Principles stuff, and you just want to pop on Twitter for some memeing or to see what's happening that day, That's absolutely your right. But that is the fear of missing out in action. Leaving Twitter has killed nobody in their life. Okay? Leaving Twitter has not necessarily hurt a lot of people who have been banned from it. Some, sure. Will being less active on Twitter make my reach slightly shorter? Yes, it will. However, it will allow me to spend more time on my videos. Making better videos will extend my reach. I believe strongly that by building my own interaction platform on the quartering.com, supporting new social media outlets, this is the long-term play. And even though BitChute gets a millionth of a percentage of YouTube, I've stuck around. I actually pay money every month to support them, and I have a nice little following there. And if content creators aren't supporting these fledgling opportunities, these fledgling competitors, they have zero chance. Something like Gab probably only makes it if Donald Trump moves over. Gab already can't really operate very effectively on mobile phones because of censorship by the Google Play Store and the Apple Store. These are corporations that have no real interest in free speech and will find any way to bend the knee to their government backers, to their foreign investors, or to push the ideology of someone at the top that probably hasn't done a hard day's work in a decade. Pretty sure Jack Dorsey is a long way removed from working all day to start something. He's more of an activist than anything now. And the unpersoning of Alex Jones in the brazen way that it was done, the way that these platforms essentially colluded with news outlets like CNN to make this stuff happen so CNN could then profit off it, is disgusting. And I just can't actively promote my Twitter anymore or my Facebook. I'm in the process of removing it from my video descriptions, from my YouTube channel, and will only promote my Gab and Minds and BitChute channels. Now, to a lot of people that will say, how can I get a hold of you? Well, to be honest, the best way is going to be just hopping over to thequartering.com. Right now, there's a mailing list. Okay. Sign up for that. I'll only email you when maybe new videos come out or when there's news that you need to know, when we're doing a live stream or when I'm doing an appearance or something like that. TheQuartering.com also has its own crowdfunding. After being banned from Patreon, maker support failing, I could no longer rely on other people to financially support myself. In fact, I'm working on setting up a P.O. box so people can send cash if they want, money orders. Because I realize that PayPal is still likely to be pressured in a situation where I'm too big to exist anymore. Right now, I'm far too small to worry about that. I feel like we can operate like this. It's exact same thing as Patreon. You can do one time, you can do monthly, whatever amount you want. You can sign up for the mailing list. So if you're somebody that actually wants to know when I upload or when I am doing live streams, you'll get it. You can check out sites like BitChute. I have a channel here with almost 4,000 subscribers. And I'm not saying you have to delete your YouTube channel and whatever, but give these guys some love. BitChute's been hanging on for a long time. I think they have a very scalable model and very nice mobile platform away from, I think, really doing well. You've got Minds.com. These are the areas where I will interact with people. I have almost 4,400 subscribers here and almost 1 million views. This isn't a tiny platform. There's Gab.ai. This is the best alternative we have to Twitter right now for all of its flaws. The fact that you can't use it well on a mobile phone, the fact that it's currently too many far-right people because it's people that have left Twitter or been banned off Twitter. This is my options. TheQuartering.com will have, I'm working on setting up a forum here. I'm not going to set up a subreddit because that's under somebody else's control. This is hosted on my own server. Yes, if they really want to in-person me, they can. But why not bleed some traffic? You'll find my newest videos posted here in the next couple of weeks. You'll find the forum where you can talk in an unfiltered way, discuss things, engage with the community, and hopefully we can bleed a little of traffic off YouTube here. The more support I get, the more features I'll add to this website. All of this goes towards making this better. And then a final thought. The biggest complaint I've seen about moving to something like Minds or Gab is that, oh, they're just all far-right people. Well, that may be true right now. That may be true. But unless we go there, unless people in the middle embrace these other platforms and get over the fear of missing out, I promise you, at the very least, take 30 days off Twitter. Just take 30 days off. See what happens to your life. I bet you you'll be feeling happier. I bet you'll be more productive. I bet you your relationships with your friends and family may improve. For most regular people, leaving these social media platforms are nothing but a good thing. Content creators, we are bound to use them to get our message out. But consider checking out BitChute or Minds or Gab or TheQuartering.com. Support creators that are taking their content, taking control of their own content. Because I think in order to go forward, we must go back. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for all of your support, your kind words, and we'll see you tonight on the Incredible Salt Mine.